In the first hour of the program, I caught up with Labor's Matt Thistlethwaite. I talked about the spat that's been unfolding publicly over the past 48 hours between the Greens and the Labor Party, because it's 10 years this week since the Greens combined with the Coalition to vote down Kevin Rudd's carbon pollution reduction scheme. That was his Orwellian name for his emissions trading scheme. Yes, the Greens helped the Coalition put the kibosh on that 10 years ago. In the interim, though, Labor put up and passed and introduced a carbon tax. Julia Gillard introduced and made law what she called a carbon tax, and that stayed in place until Tony Abbott repealed it. Of course, famously, Labor haven't wanted to talk about that so much. They've been more interested in harking back to Kevin Rudd's ETS. Here's Matt Thistlethwaite having a go at the Greens over that.
I've got to say, it's quite hypocritical of the Greens to be saying this about Labor and our approach to climate change. We all know that a decade ago they had the opportunity to vote for carbon pollution reduction scheme, which was essentially an emissions trading scheme, and they teamed up with the Liberals to knock that off.
OK, that's a fair point, but it's just as fair for the Greens to say, hang on a second, Kevin Rudd just abandoned that a few months later anyway, so Labor refused to take their ETS to a double dissolution, and later they had the carbon tax. What was really interesting about what Matt Thistlethwaite had to say was he praised the carbon tax. He said that the price on carbon that the Gillard government put in place was effective, it was working, emissions were coming down, and the economy was OK. So he was praising Julia Gillard's carbon tax. This is an interesting development because, of course, Labor didn't take a carbon price to the last election. They're trying to work out what their climate change policy will be for the next election. It sounds from what Matt Thistlethwaite was saying as if a price on carbon is very much still in play among Labor ranks. It would be brave, although given their positions, I've got to say it would be sensible. Some sort of emissions trading scheme is the most efficient way to deliver what they want, but it would be a brave policy, I suppose, to go back to emissions trading scheme or carbon tax that caused so much strife for Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard. We shall see. Interesting times.